After a disastrous season last year, Purdue Boilermaker football is almost back. Under new leadership, can Barry Odom take the Boilermakers to the bowls? We'll see. We have the answers to those questions and more on a very special premiere episode of Locked On Boilermakers.
You are Locked On Boilermakers, your daily podcast on the Purdue Boilermakers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome into Locked On Boilermakers. I'm your host, Nick Arvin. We're here today on a very special premiere episode of Locked On Boilermakers on the Locked On Network. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you, Game Time, for sponsoring this episode. We've got a lot to talk about today on our premiere episode, and we're going to start right off with the topic of today's episode. Can the Boilers go bowling? There's a lot of conversation about this right now as we're just about a month away from football season. The ante is up around West Lafayette, and there's a lot of excitement after 1-11 season last year. Ryan Walters gets fired in the offseason this past year. And then Barry Odom fits right in. Seems like a perfect fit to what was a, quite frankly, not good football team last year. There's been a lot of talk so far this offseason about a depleted roster. We see last year after that 1-11 start, a lot of guys don't necessarily want to be here anymore. They leave, but Barry Odom has done a good job so far this offseason of really re-amplifying this roster, rejuvenating this roster, and getting guys that are going to be able to compete at a Big Ten level. Obviously, last year, we saw that the product that was put on the field isn't acceptable, and that's not acceptable for West Lafayette and what Purdue football is trying to be. We're not that far away from a Big Ten championship appearance under Jeff Brom. We go over to Ryan Walters the past 2 years, and we don't see success, and that's not just on him. Obviously, not the best team on the field, and in a time when NIL is king, we've seen that Purdue isn't willing to spend the money, but we're in a new era now. Under Barry Odom, we've seen that maybe some certain resources are there that weren't there for Ryan Walters, and there's a lot of opportunity going into this year for Purdue and specifically for their bowl projections. So let's get right into it. There's no lying about it. Purdue wasn't very good last year. They just weren't. You go 1-11, like it's not the expectation that should be had, but there is a lot of expectations for Purdue to be a lot better this year, even if that's not necessarily reciprocated from the national media. Purdue opens up the season this year. We got Ball State week 1, Southern Illinois week 2. Those are 2 winnable games. You start out your season 2-0, and then go on to week 3. You welcome USC into Ross-Ade Stadium, Ross-Ade, which Barry Odom has made very apparent that he wants sold out this year. He wants to be a home environment that we haven't seen in recent years for Purdue. Ross-Ade always seems to be bouncing, but the past 2 years under Ryan Walters, we haven't seen Ross-Ade at what it used to be, that dangerous environment that teams really fear to come into. So you open up your season 2-0 for Purdue, essentially with Ball State and Southern Illinois. You hope you win those. I mean, if we may be in kind of damage control if one of those games get dropped, but in all likelihood, Purdue starts out the season 2-0 under new head coach Barry Odom. The juices are flowing. Everyone's excited around West Lafayette, around Central Indiana, that fan base that loves their Boilermakers so much. And we really go into that week 3 game against USC, and the expectations that are on that game for it to be a big game, that's factual. Like, that's going to be a game that really defines Purdue's season this year. And the fact that there are people saying that Purdue's going to win 2-3 games, I mean, I understand it from a perspective of, hey, Purdue goes 1-11 last year, but have you not been paying attention this offseason? Have you not been paying attention to the hiring of Barry Odom, who turned around things at UNLV? How are you going to say that Purdue, Vegas has the win total at 3.5? How are you going to say that Purdue is going to win these 2 games, Ball State and Southern Illinois, which I don't think anyone's saying that Purdue is going to lose, and that they're only going to be able to pull out 3 games on the year. I don't buy that, not for a second. I think that Purdue has the chance to go bowling this year. I think that they have a chance to really turn around and build off what was disastrous last year and turn it into something positive. You bring back Ryan Brown from Chapel Bill over there at North Carolina. No telling what's going over there right now, but you bring back Ryan Brown, who showed promise last year against Illinois. He's a competent quarterback who is able to really perform and has shown that he's able to perform in the dual threat. He can run it. He can make throws down the field. He has everything that you want in a quarterback. We haven't seen him play consistently, but we've seen him show enough potential. We've seen him show enough potential to give the impression that Purdue is a bowl team. And I feel like nobody is talking about Purdue from an aspect of, hey, they'll be competitive this year. And I'm sitting here telling you that they're going to be competitive. Maybe they don't go back to the Big Ten championship. They probably won't. I mean, in all seriousness, we can drink the Purdue Kool-Aid all we want, but they're probably not going to be back to the Big Ten championship this year. It's their first year, the Big Ten stack, very top-heavy conference. But we can play competitive football, and that's what Purdue fans should expect. Under Barry Odom, the standard should be competitive football, and that's something that hasn't been seen lately. Barry Odom is going to get the Boilermakers back to a bowl game. We start off 2-0, welcome USC into Ross-Ade, and that environment's going to be wicked. We got Jaden Maivia, new freshman quarterback for USC. He comes in there, that elite Purdue defense that's been showing a lot of talent throughout fall camp. Believe it or not, that's always a staple of what Purdue's good at. When that defense is good, Purdue's good. And everything that we've seen so far is that defense has been rebuilt, reestablished to become a competitive defense in the Big Ten. So you can sit here and tell me that Purdue's going to win 3 games on the year, but I don't buy it. That's a bowl team. If Purdue was going to go 1-11, 2-12, or 2-10 rather, why is there hype around Barry Odom? I mean, we saw what he did at UNLV. He rebuilt that program. Why aren't we paying attention to what Barry Odom's done? Why are we acting like that hiring means nothing? Like he's done nothing for this defense, like he's done nothing to rebuild this team. Barry Odom has turned around the culture around Purdue. You can say, hey, last year, take it for a grain of salt. We're going to see what's on the field, and that's perfectly fine. You can sit here and say, hey, Purdue's going to be 14th, 15th in the Big Ten, but I don't buy that. I mean, you hire Barry Odom for a reason. We saw what he did at UNLV. That program has never had real success in the game of football. And he took that team to a 10-win season last year, to back-to-back bowl games, and we're just acting like there's going to be no change for Purdue. You can say they're going to be 15th in the Big Ten, 16th in the Big Ten, but I don't understand why that hiring and why the change to this team is being unnoticed by the media. It's really a shame because this team has talent. It has talent. It's going to be a competitive football team. And shoot, maybe they lose to Notre Dame, right? That's week 4 after USC. Obviously, the USC game isn't a give me. Like, that's going to be a competitive football game, and people are just acting like it's not. Purdue has the schedule. They play Illinois at home. They play Indiana at home. They play USC at home. Like, these are winnable games. You start off the season with 2 gimmies, and you build on that. Barry Odom has done a great job getting his team to play winning football. He's been functional. He's always had locker rooms of guys that want to play the game of football. We didn't see that last year with Walters. Everybody towards the end of the season looked like they didn't want to be there. But that's not going to be the case under Barry Odom. You see what happens with Ryan Brown. He comes back. Seems like he really wants to play for Barry Odom. He chooses Barry Odom over one of the greatest football coaches to ever live in Bill Belichick over there at North Carolina. Purdue has real bowl expectations this year. People aren't seeing it because of 1-11 last year, and that's going to be something big to overcome. Whenever you go 1-11, you have to earn back the respect from the national media, from your peers, from other teams. But everything that I've seen in the offseason has shown that Purdue has the potential to do that, has the potential to make it to a bowl game, and has the potential to be competitive. Culture is something that you talk about in a football team, especially in the Big Ten. And we see that here with Purdue. We didn't have the culture last year. By the end of the year, it looked like they were just ready to lay down and not compete. We see that against Indiana in that rivalry week matchup. That's a game that everyone around Purdue wants to forget. And when you leave that lingering taste in the mouth of the committee and the mouth of the national media, it makes sense that there are lower expectations for Purdue this year. But I say, pay attention. Pay attention to what's happening. Pay attention to the hiring of Barry Odom. Pay attention to the portal additions. Pay attention. This team isn't the team of last year. This team is so much better than last year. And the fact that people are underestimating this Purdue roster, it makes sense, but it's not okay. This is a team that very well could make a bowl, that very well should make a bowl. This team's going to be competitive. And primarily, that's because of Barry Odom. He's a good head coach, and we're going to talk about him here in this next segment, right after an offer from 5 Hour Energy. For all you golfers out there, golf season is in full swing, and I have a question for you. What's the wildest shot you've ever made? Was it a total fluke or a well-calculated miracle? Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors, of course. The grape ginger lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without chasing the bev cart. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that is the number 5hourenergy.com, you can use my promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your order. This order is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with any other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion flavored 5-hour energy shots today. Let's talk about Barry Odom for a second. I mean, we talked about him a little bit in the last segment when we prefaced the fact that Purdue is a bowl team and they need to be seen as such. But let's talk about his expectations for a second. Barry Odom's very well versed, most notably UNLV last year. We talk a little bit about that. Him turning around the culture at UNLV. UNLV is not traditionally a football school, not a school that necessarily takes pride in its football program, but Barry Odom turned that around. He really made UNLV, he made that Rebel team a team of culture. He had them ranked at the end of last year, had them competitive in the Mountain West, probably the worst possible time to be competitive in the Mountain West with Ashton Genty's Boise State Broncos running things over there. But he really turned that team into a contender in the Mountain West. And that's something that Purdue noticed this offseason with their head coach vacancy, and they hired him. We saw Barry Odom at Missouri, 2 good years in 2017, 2018, 2019. Not as good of a year, and we saw parted ways over there at Missouri, but he has experience in the Power 5. If you say, oh, UNLV does good things for that program, but where's the competition? He played competition. He played SEC competition in Missouri, and he did pretty well throughout that tenure, finishing 500 throughout 3 years over at Missouri. But when we talk about what he brings into Purdue, we talk about functionality. I mean, last year, not a functional locker room. We see that at the end of the year whenever Ryan Walters leaves, 90% of production for Purdue either graduates or transfers out, hits that portal. And then once Barry Odom comes on board, once that hiring gets announced, so many guys flood in to this program. We talk about Ryan Brown over at UNC, Devin Maccabee, someone who we talk a lot about, He decides to stay, but he's loyal to Purdue throughout a fault. But we see guys from UNLV come over to Purdue with Barry Odom. That shows kind of what he meant to some of those guys at UNLV. We see him rebuild that O-line with 9 transfer portal additions on that offensive line, somewhere where we saw a lot of inconsistencies last year. They ran out 14 different guys to try to patch holes on that O-line, and that's something that Barry Odom saw that needed to be addressed in this offseason, and he addressed it. I mean, we talk about what he means as a motivator, but we don't talk about Barry Odom as a recruiter as much. So far, since he's gotten here, he's been in West Lafayette for 6-7 months now. He's been on the recruiting trail. I mean, you see these 2026 guys. He's getting commitments. They're giving offers, and that's something that maybe Jeff Brom saw at Purdue, but Jeff Brom's a great head coach. Ryan Walters didn't see that success at Purdue, and it shows on the field. In a time of NIL, you need more than just a brand. Purdue's a brand. It's a good brand. Big Ten brand, original Big Ten team. People want to play at Purdue, and people have wanted to play at Purdue, which is why Purdue has seen success in the past. But there's more to college sports than just branding now. It's all about the money. And Purdue's not going to pay the money that an Ohio State, a Penn State's going to pay. But what Purdue can offer is a culture of excellence, a culture of functionality, a culture of grit. We didn't see that for Ryan Walters, but we see that for Barry Odom. That grit is there, and that grit is something that Barry Odom offers to Purdue and shows that he is the guy. He's the guy for West Lafayette. Whenever you hire Ryan Walters, it felt more like you were filling a hole for Jeff Brom's absence. He leaves for Louisville, and you need to find somebody immediately. I think that the Ryan Walters firing was a long time coming. He was only there for 2 years, but that's not acceptable. 1-11 is unacceptable at Purdue. 1-11 is unacceptable anywhere. So Purdue's administration had a vision for what kind of coach they wanted to plug into this program long before they probably even fired Ryan Walters. And that is Barry Odom. I mean, you find your guy. Barry Odom didn't leave UNLV on bad terms. He turned that program around and was looking for a bigger opportunity at a bigger school, and you can't fault him for that. Barry Odom is a great candidate for Purdue. He's a great head coach, and we've seen the culture, the excitement for this program has completely been shifted since his hiring. What are his expectations, though? What happens if he goes out and he doesn't bring Purdue to a bowl game like we talked about? I don't see that happening. I'm so convinced that Purdue's going to a bowl game. I think that Barry Odom's going to fulfill those expectations. But what are those expectations? Are they 3.5 games like Vegas says? Or inside the administration is bowl game kind of what's desired, what's expected from Barry Odom in year one? We'll see on the field. I think that Barry Odom's going to be able to provide competitive football. I think that he's going to be able to string some wins together and really build a brand that people respect, a team that people will finally admit is competitive, a Purdue team that people want to watch every single Saturday on Big Ten, the best conference on earth, and see compete against some of these high-profile schools. We haven't seen that. Purdue the past 2 years has felt like a lower, I hate to say this, but they felt like a lower level program. Whenever teams see Purdue on the schedule, it felt like a free win under Ryan Walters, and that's not acceptable for Purdue, the brand, the team, or the administration over here. The athletic department needs to show value in their football program. Basketball is king, and the basketball team has been excellent. I can't wait to cover the basketball team on this show, but football is king in the Big Ten. Purdue has a history of football. I mean, shoot, Drew Brees played in Purdue black and gold. Like, one of the most notable names in football played in the black and gold. And then from a national perspective, they've tried to shift Purdue like they've become obsolete. Like this program doesn't mean anything anymore. And that's what Barry Odom has done such a good job at. He did that at UNLV. He took a program that seemed like people didn't necessarily care and turned it into must-see TV every Saturday. And I hope that we see that at Purdue with Barry Odom. He's done an excellent job everywhere he's been. You can say what you want about how things ended at Missouri, but I mean, Missouri for a couple of years wasn't in a good spot. They had success first coming into the SEC. They have a couple rough years. They bring Barry Odom in and they find some stability. Things don't end up well, but he did a good job there. He did a great job at UNLV. He turned that around, and I expect him to do a great job at Purdue. Will he go to the Big Ten championship this year? No. I don't see Purdue going to the Big Ten championship, but we're going to win some games this year. Purdue will win some games this year. And the only thing that you can do when you're not given respect from the media is to earn that respect. We've seen in fall camp so far, he's been a very hard-nosed guy. If you see these pictures of Barry Odom, he looks like the ideal football coach. Looks like could run anybody down in an Oklahoma drill. Looks like he's running reps right out there with the team, and that's what Purdue needs. They need someone that's going to be gritty, that's going to be on the front lines with him, and they need a head coach that's going to earn the respect of the players. Ryan Walters wasn't able to do that. We saw Jeff Brom able to do that. He leaves for Louisville, but Barry Odom's here. Barry Odom's now, and Barry Odom is going to shift some eyes in West Lafayette. Does he have a quarterback? We'll talk about that here on this next segment. But first, quick little ad break. We've all been there, logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That's where Game Time comes in. Game Time makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, and you can save up to 60% off with their killer last-minute deals. Ever wonder what your view will actually look like before you buy? The app shows you a panoramic seat view, so there are no surprises. Take the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest priced, guaranteed. As we make it into our last segment today, it's a very important topic. I mean, fall camp starts up this week. It has started up this week, this past Monday. We've seen a quarterback competition. We're a month out from week one, and there hasn't been a quarterback announced. The two front runners from all that we've seen is Malachi Singleton from Arkansas, who notably held that last minute drive against Tennessee last year to upset Tennessee. He has potential, a guy that Barry Odom brings in. And then the other front runner, Ryan Brown, North Carolina commit. He leaves Purdue after 1-11 last year. He goes to North Carolina to go play for Bill Belichick. Once Barry Odom gets announced, he's back. And Ryan Brown is an interesting case for Purdue fans. Many people see Purdue as a place for Ryan Brown to maintain a starting quarterback position in a way that he may not have had at North Carolina. But I honestly think that he was going to compete for a spot over there. I mean, things are weird in North Carolina right now, and that can't be understated. Ryan Brown feels like he has the opportunity to earn a Big Ten starting spot, and it's completely justified. Malachi Singleton shouldn't be taken as a grain of salt, though. He's right there neck and neck with Ryan Brown. Ryan Brown has been adjusted to this system, maybe not Barry Odom's system, but he's used to the culture at Purdue. He's used to being at Purdue. He played in a game last year, 2 games, actually. He started against Illinois and then kind of got thrown to the wolves last year against Oregon. But what we saw against Illinois was really good. Throws for 297 yards. They lose 49-50 in overtime. But I recommend, hey, if you're wondering what you're going to get in Ryan Brown, watch that game. We saw the dual threat ability. We see him stretching it down the field. We saw 100+ rushing yards in that game. His ability to improvise when the pocket's collapsing. Malachi Singleton is an option for starting quarterback, and he's an option that needs to be taken seriously. But Ryan Brown is the guy. So we see at practice in fall camp, there are some inconsistencies from Ryan Brown. We see a few missed passes, I think an interception on Monday or Tuesday, but so is everybody. Everybody in that quarterback room has been inconsistent. So far in fall camp, the defense has gotten the best of the offense every single time. Almost every down, the defense is in the backfield. They're making plays, and that says a lot more about the defense than it says about the offense. I'm not too worried about what the offense has been doing so far in those quarterbacks, the quarterback play. It's hard to get adjusted to a new system. They've had the summer, but fall camp is different. Fall camp, you feel it. You feel the anticipation. You feel the live reps. You get those pads on, and it's a whole different ball game. I think a lot of the overreactions surrounding Malachi Singleton and Ryan Brown have not necessarily been unjustified, but I feel like as Purdue fans, we need to take that with a grain of salt because these guys are in this spot for the first time. We see Ryan Brown, he had success at Purdue last year in that Illinois game, but he was under Hudson Card. He didn't take those number one team reps a whole lot. This is his first time being used to those number one reps. And we've seen him come out of the gate a little bit slow. Maybe that's not why we've had a starter announce, but I don't know if we need a starter announce right away. There's been a lot of speculation, a lot of talk about, hey, why has there not been a starter announced? Malachi Singleton, Ryan Brown. Obviously, the front runners were a month out from the football season. Fall camp started out, and Barry Odom said nothing. He's been asked a couple times about what's happening at that quarterback position. He hasn't responded well. He's made it known that it's an open competition, that anybody has the ability to earn that spot, that nothing is given. And I think that speaks more to the success of the other guys in that room more than the struggles that we may have seen from Ryan Brown or maybe of Malachi Singleton so far in this training camp. We saw today, though, Ryan Brown stretching the ball out, throwing it down the field. Obviously, we see those training reps. You got to take those with a grain of salt. It's not in game. So any of the guys that can make throws at the college level are going to be able to air it out during training camp. But what we saw today from Ryan Brown was really excellent. It shows that he has the capabilities to be a starter in the Big Ten. But like I said, I don't know if a starter needs to be announced. You got Ball State week 1, Southern Illinois week 2. You'd like to have a guy that you trust going into week 3 against USC. And I'm not saying take Ball State and underestimate them. I'm not saying take Southern Illinois, who's a high-quality FCS opponent, and underestimate them. But what I'm saying is you can throw out a couple different options in those games. Those aren't going to be entirely competitive. Purdue has the players to outmatch those teams. You can see what a couple different guys give you looks at the quarterback position in live reps in a live game. I'd like to see Ryan Brown and Malachi Singleton maybe not go 50-50, but I'd like to see them both. And I think that's what we're going to see. We haven't seen an announcement yet. We haven't heard of a starter yet because there isn't a starter. There may be a starter on the box score. There may be someone who starts the game, but it's not a traditional starter from the aspect of, hey, this is our guy. We're building our team around him. That's not who Barry Odom is. That's not what Barry Odom tries to build. Barry Odom has prided himself as a head coach of building hard-nosed teams that don't necessarily need a star quarterback to stand out. And I'm not saying that Ryan Brown or Malachi Singleton don't have the capabilities to be a star quarterback in college football. I'm not saying that they're going to turn out to be Nussmeier or Drew Aller, but they have potential. And I don't think that you need to cut one of Singleton or Brown's potential in order to put yourself in a box and say, hey, I'm going to build around this guy. It's not necessary. Obviously, there's the old phrase, 2 quarterbacks equal to none. But in Purdue's case, you want to survey the options. Last year, there was inconsistency at that position. Hudson Card had a decent year in 2023, but production dips last year in 2024, and you stick with them. I disagree with some of the decisions made. Obviously, Ryan Brown didn't have a great performance following Illinois against Oregon, and you put Hudson Card right back in after suffering a concussion. I don't think that should have happened. I think that Ryan Brown should have seen the field more, and there should have been an actual quarterback competition between Brown and Card, because we saw Brown had showed more production than Card did throughout 2 games. Obviously a small sample size, but he showed talent, he showed promise, he showed potential. And I don't think that Barry Odom wants to make the mistakes of last year. I don't think that he wants to revisit last year, sticking yourself in a box. I think that he wants to give both Singleton and Brown a shot, get them in game, and see who's the best fit to lead this team into Ross-Ade week 3 against USC. You have 2 guys. They both show that they can play at a collegiate level. Malachi Singleton against Tennessee. He gets a couple more game action over there at Arkansas last year. Ryan Brown against Illinois. You have 2 talented guys. They haven't proven themselves in game at a level that a lot of other quarterbacks in the Big Ten have, but you can't expect that. You get 3 years of eligibility out of Ryan Brown, 3 years of eligibility out of Malachi Singleton. Those guys could be the future of this team, one or the other. So I don't know why you need to put yourself in a box this early. Hey, we're a month out. Football season's coming up soon. And from a fan's perspective, you'd like to know who the starter is. You'd like to know what jersey you want to buy. But things aren't cut and dry. This is a complex Purdue team. And for that, it's a complex quarterback question. We don't know what's going to happen yet. We don't know who's going to start, who's going to make their name known. But we're going to see. Both Ryan Brown and Malachi Singleton have the ability to really cement themselves as a starter. But I don't think it's going to happen in fall camp. I think that they're both going to plug in week 1 against Ball State, and then they're going to battle it out against the Cardinals to see who's the guy. And I don't blame Barry Odom for that. The Boilermakers have all the potential in the world this year. Say what you want. And I'm excited that we're able to document this and launch this show for you guys. I'm very excited about Locked On Boilermakers, and that's all we got for you today. Thank you for making Locked On Boilermakers your first listen today. For your second listen, check out The Portal Show. Brian Smith has the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. Be the most informed fan on the rapid changes to the college football landscape. Find The Portal on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you, guys.